And yes, you guys were right. The delay that was blurred in the best delay video was indeed ReCirculate from Newfangled Audio. Delays are definitely one of my favorite creative tools when mixing. I like to spend time with them. I like to make my custom delays every time. And I'm always looking for new delays. And you will probably wonder, do we need another delay? I don't know about you. I definitely need this one because it sounds awesome. Let's take a look at it. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixBest TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, please check the info box down below. In there you will find free plugins, special discounts, offers, and of course link to the new ReCirculate from Newfangled Audio. And if you haven't already, please go check out the new website mixbesttv.com. In there you will find all the mixing and mastering courses available, many different genres, start to finish. On the website you can also book all the other services, mix, mastering, production, private lessons, and mix consultations. And if you want to access the exclusive videos here on YouTube, click the join button down here, become a MixBest TV member. You also get mixed consultation with it. And if the videos are helping you, you want to support the channel, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Let's get to the video. Newfangled Audio ReCirculate. This plugin started to make my mixes day one. It sounds awesome. I love pretty much everything Newfangled Audio makes. The saturator is awesome. All the other plugins are great, but this might be my favorite. The GUI is super simple. You can see the repeats here on the big graphic in the middle. You have the notes on top. When you click snap a special time signature like dotted, you can see the dot there. Same for the triplet. You have sync tempo option, and for the grid you have notes, steps, or milliseconds. This is particularly useful when you work with really close cluttered delays. The other menu at the top is the behavior. We have 4 modes: standard, pitch warp, granular, and ping pong. I love it because it gives me few options, so not too tweaky, but they all sound great, especially the granular one combined with the character options and the sound stage, which we are gonna see in a second. A very cool feature here at the top is that we can lock mix, echo, and tone independently. So if you tweak your tone or your time signature and you want to scroll through presets, you can do that while locking these 3 options: mix, echo, and tone. So if you work on it, you won't lose those settings while scrolling through presets. One thing to notice in the settings is we have 3 color schemes for the GUI. We have Newfangled, which is white. We have Twin Turbo, which is a different color scheme, very Tron-like with black and aqua color. And then we have the modern, which is the one we're going to use for this video. Below the graphic, we have the mixer section. Here we have our dry signal slider. If we want to use the effect in insert or send, we have the wet level slider and feedback left and right, which can be unlinked. Below the dry and the wet, we have 2 little windows, and you can see you can click and drag these 2 lines here. The first one is dry effect. Basically, this one allows you to apply all the effects down here, so the filters, the character, the dynamics, to the dry sound as well. And next to we have the width, how wide you want the actual delay. Below that, we have the dynamic section: transient, compress, and ducking. These are pretty self-explanatory. We have a length slider for the transient and an amount. For the compression, we have the amount and also a gate. And for the ducking, we have the amount of the ducking and the speed. Next to it, we have the delay beat section. This is one of my favorite features, and you can create very interesting delays with this. In fact, you can see in yellow, we have our first echo, right here. And you see when I scroll the mouse over it, it animates the controls. Right now I'm synced to 1.8, but we can change independently the first echo from the repeats. And this is something that I often do in my mixes. I want, for example, the first echo to happen at 1.8, but the repeats not to come in until a 4th and to be at 1/4. This is a very common thing for me to do in my mixes. And when I have to do this, I have to set up usually 2 delays, one for the first echo and one for the repeats, because you don't have the option on other delays to separate the first repeat from the feedback. You can do it for each channel. You can do it for each channel independently if you want. Below that, we have the character. This is to color your effect, your delay. We have a drive slider, so we can set up the amount, and we have 6 different algorithms: dirty, dark, warm, bite, crunch, hot, or you can run it clean if you want. And then we have the noise with, again, the amount and the type: grit, grime, bit, and hiss. Now, this is labeled noise, and I would call it color instead. Because while hiss is the closest thing that we associate with the word noise, grit and grime especially are just an additional color to the effect, and in my opinion is what makes this delay sit so well in the mix. You will hear it. The combination of the drive, the grit, and especially when in granular mode, it really makes this delay blend with the original track and in the mix like no other. We then have a filter with 2 nodes, one for the lows and one for the highs. And we have 5 options for the shape of these nodes. Slope, reso, which of course is going to be a resonant filter, a notch, a combo, and then a scoop. Below the filters, we have another one, again of my favorite sections, but you see the trend. Every single feature on this delay is well designed and it sounds great. First one is spread, which can be positive or negative. Then we have crossfeed, to, of course, crossfeed repeats left and right. We have spray when we are in granular mode, because the spray in this case randomizes the read point for each grain, the size of the grain, the reverb for which we have the amount and the decay. And if we change the behavior to standard, we see that the spray becomes chorus with the speed of chorus. If we go to pitch warp, we have instead the modulation, how strong the modulation of the pitch warp is going to be and the speed of it. We go back to chorus here, but we have the ping pong slider here at the bottom, positive or negative. So these are all the controls that we have. The GUI is of course resizable. Let's listen to how it sounds. We start with a synth. So this is kind of the first test that I did with this plugin, and it was enough to skyrocket it in my top 3 favorite delays of all time. You hear how, one, easy it is to go from the basic starting point of an 8 delay into a colored, modulating, diffuse delay with a few moves. I love the grit. Please pay attention to the character section when I'm changing parameters, because I can tell you this because I had this plugin for a couple of weeks, if not more, so I did several mixes with it. It just makes the effect sit perfectly in the mix, and you'll hear it especially with vocals. Let's play with it a little more. There are subtle differences between dirty, dark, warm, and all the other algorithm for the saturation, but they are all great sounding and they all affect different regions of the frequency spectrum. So depending on the material, depending on if it's a feature delay, if it's a delay that needs to be in the background or up front, you will pick one or the other. But remember, dirt and filtering and slight modulation is what makes the delay blend with everything else. And the reverb you heard sounds absolutely amazing. There are other delays that have a built-in reverb, which usually is not that great. I always bypass it and use my own. This might be one of the only 2 plugins that I can think of in which that would be my first choice because it sounds absolutely great. I'm gonna play a little more with the tempo here and we'll change behavior. Now, first, what I mentioned at the beginning, I want the first repeat happening at 1/8 and then the other repeats at 1/4, but I'm gonna unlink this and make the other channel uneven. This is a cool thing. So if you click on the arrow, you have preset in sync time, right? So a 4th, an 8th, 16, whatever you want. But once you select it, if you click and move it a little bit, you can see you can actually move it in milliseconds, and that's very, very cool because again, with other delays, you can either put it in sync or manual to do something like this. With this one, you can just click and drag. And I'm gonna do the same for the first one here. So see, you can create very wide sounding delays just by doing this. Okay, so with the ping pong, we have the sprag, we have the negative and positive ping pong slider, so we can play with the stereo image of the delay. It's really cool because all the important controls are in front of you and you can see them all just by hovering the pointer over them, so you can see all the percentages if you're using compression, ducking, or anything else. Let's try it on something else. Very, very cool, very intuitive. It's just fun to use. I'm not even talking that much in this review because I'm just having fun playing with it because I can fine tune it, but I am never into analytical mode. I'm able to stay in creative mode. So I'm really just listening and moving things as opposed to concentrate on what I'm doing on the plugin and then listening after if the result is good. I'm still in creative mode. I just move things, go with the flow of the GUI, which is really well done, and it just sounds good. And I love, again, that you can just move this. Look at this. If I want to create a wider stereo, I'm just going to move this a little bit. Hear the difference. And here's a good example of when I would use the dry effect. So I kind of came up with this dark, slightly saturated echo, and I like the sound. And now if you notice the dry sound, it's kind of disconnected. Now we are listening to this in solo, so it might be okay in a full mix, but right now listening in solo, I want to apply all my effects here. So my character, my sound stage, also to the dry part of the sound. So we're gonna move this slider and hear how it sounds. I love the granular for things like this. Let's try it on a vocal.
I see all other life just giving in 'cause of you. You're so hot that you could turn sun blind on the mysteries of love and fear. She's got me working through the night. I'll take the fortune and fame. Don't need the critics' acclaim. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want.
That is very cool because usually when you start moving effects and character and filters, you look for a cool sound. The feeling that I have with ReCirculate is that all of them are cool. I just have to pick which one I like the best. So it's really straight up fun to use. Let's try another vocal. I'm doing the opposite on this one. I'm starting the first echo at 1/4 and I'm leaving the following ones at 1/8. And again, I'm gonna actually do this. I'm gonna unlink the channels. I'm gonna move this one a little bit.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. Let my guard down, now you pull the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. Let my guard down, now you pull the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved.
It's a very cool color. I like the resonance filters
Now
here.
the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. Let my guard down, now you pull the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love.
And again, I like the color so much that I feel like I have to apply it to the dry as well.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. Let my guard down, now you pull the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved.
It sounds really, really cool. Let's do piano. This thing is so fun to use, and all the colors are really, really cool. The drive, the algorithms of the various saturation themselves are never unpleasant, which is refreshing because usually the saturation on a delay or the other effects are kind of an afterthought. Instead, here they put as much effort in the additional effects, so to speak, than in the delay itself. Well, I think this is it for the video. You guys literally saw this coming because I put this delay even before the release. I was using it in the top delays video released a few days ago. This was Newfangled Audio ReCirculate. The link is going to be in the info box down below. If you like the video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, let me know what you think. Consider using the super thanks, support the channel. Go check out the new website mixplustv.com for all the services and all the mixing and mastering courses. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you on NAM next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat. Lift me up.